Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Apples and Ginos Fantasy Hockey Podcast, the podcast you come to when you're finally ready to take fantasy hockey seriously. My name is Nico Nibbelink. I'm the creator of Apples and Ginos, originator of the Zero G draft strategy. In this podcast, Blake and I are going to draft Tier 1 of the APL live for your pleasure. Let's get it. And we're back. Buddy, are you ready?
Buddy, I was born ready. I'm stoked. I'm just finishing a draft as we speak, and I'm rolling into another one. I don't give a damn, all right? The V is deep, okay? And so are my thoughts about this draft right here.
I love it. I love the energy.
Okay.
I am excited. I am worried. I am feeling under the weather, which is a fun development for something like this. The chat is electric, and we love to see that. So let's just run through it. We got a Fogtown homeboy in the crowd. Don't forget face-off wins. Big boys finally getting to biz. Armin is hype. Hidden in plain sight says nice. LFG from Marty. I was expecting deeper V's from Charles. We got rooting for Sideshow Perry in here. We got Hutch in the chat. Not sure about how I feel about actually seeing your faces for the first time or hearing you on 1x. Can you talk at 1.5x, please?
I just speak that way normally anyway, so that's fine.
We got Team Nimmer. I'm enjoying the team aspect that's going on here. That's pretty fun. Brando loves the deep V. Nice distraction tactic. Is that the real motivation here, Blake?
I don't know. If it works, then great. I feel fine about that. Yeah, I'm just being myself. All right. That's what I try and do here on the pod for all you lovely folks out there.
Starting up the excuses early. I see you, Nate. Yeah, I'm getting chirped in the chat now. What's happening? It's early. We're only a minute away from this thing starting. But we should probably do a quick rundown of what the APL is for anybody who is not a common viewer or listener of the channel. APL is our tiered league system. There is the top tier, which is us, drafting for your pleasure right now, and then there are a bunch of tiers below that, kind of like in a pyramid format. There are three divisions in tier 2 and so on and so forth as you move further down. This draft here, we've got myself, we've got Ryan Top Cheddar, we've got Nolan M, we've got Blake with the Creams and Dreams team, we've got Nimmer, we got Seabass drafting at 3:30 a.m. in Sweden right now. We got Reese's Pieces, also from the Experts Keeper League. We got Fogtown, we got Sideshow, we got Hutch, we got 18 Scares, and we got Poppy, also from Cacuffle Tier 1. We are just about to start the roster settings and scoring settings, actually, I have pinned in the chat, so people can go check that out. Yeah. It should also be in the description of the video, so lots of places to check that out, direct people to it if they're wondering. But Blake, you're on the clock. What are we doing?
You know what the hell we're doing. All right. It's funny. I've had first overall pick in 5 drafts so far.
Woe is you.
That doesn't even make sense. It's great, but like some of these drafts have weird reversals, like this weird APL league as a 3rd round reversal. What the hell is that about? But I gotta go with our projections here, my man. I gotta go McKinnon. I like the playoff schedule there. I feel like, I've talked about this before, but McDavid has that nuclear option, where he can just pop off. But I have this feeling that there's going to be a little bit of load management there. They want McDavid ready for the playoffs. So I don't know. I'll tell myself whatever I need to. But I got Matt. It feels good.
Yeah. I wouldn't have blamed you, honestly, whichever way you want to go there. I don't think it's a big deal. Actually, once I did all my VORP and schedule and everything analysis, it kind of came out pretty even across the top number of players. Mac was definitely the highest still, but it actually came out quite even. I was wondering if this would happen to me if I was gonna have to make a choice between Draisaitl and Kaprizov, but instead Matthews comes to me at 6, and I'm gonna slam that. So Matthews at 6 is my pick. We get, I guess that's probably the conventional top 5 off before Matthews this year in most drafts, but I'm very happy to find myself with Matthews there. Not going to be angry about getting that. And that puts 18 skaters in a situation where he's got to decide what to do. Not loving drafting right beside 18 skaters, and then I got Ryan on the other side.
I
But
got Josh. I hate this.
yeah,
I just drafted a league where I was pretty happy. You know, it was good. I wasn't getting sniped, but this time I feel like you said this, we're gonna have to just take our guys where they land in the projections because no one's gonna be falling. This is a really sharp draft, so it's gonna be interesting to see what happens.
18 skaters going down to the wire. Finally does get the Kaprizov pick in. I would have been shocked to see anything else there. Reese's Pieces was a recent promotion from Tier 2, but well-known and respected manager from the, we call ourselves experts, Keeper League. So we know he's going to hold down the fort and challenge us just as well as anybody else can here. Jack Hughes goes off at the 9 spot, which I'm pretty in line with. Like that's probably where I'm taking him. I know that's some people are scared off by the injury, but I don't know. I've still got another snake draft upcoming, and so I might end up with a 9 spot there. We've got the Content Creators League on Monday, so that could happen, and I could be in a situation where I do have to make that Jack Hughes call for my own team, but so far I have not had to do that for myself. Mikko Rantanen and Zach Werenski are the turn for Fogtown. Fogtown also drafting late, 11 p.m. I think start. Said in the chat for him. So it's some people are pretty dedicated to fantasy hockey, Blake.
This is the best, man. Like, that's how I get in trouble in fantasy hockey. People are like, "Hey, you want to do this draft?" I'm like, you know damn well I want to do that draft. All right. But then you have a team and you have to manage it. It just becomes a problem. But I have cut 2 teams off my, off my to-do list here this year, Nate. So I feel good about that. I feel like I'll be 0.3% better than I was last year. And that's, as long as I'm trending in the right direction.
As long as we're trending in the right direction. We've got a comment. I'm using your combined projections for all my drafts. If I lose, I'm blaming you guys.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Yeah. You got a pick coming up here, Nate. I don't want you don't want to give too much away here, but it's like, are you kind of in line with what I was talking about? You're gonna kind of look at your projections and see where the value is. Like, you've got the center only. Like, do you feel comfortable with this roster kind of going more centers if need be, or are you looking to sort of diversify early?
Yeah, with 3 center spots, I am pretty okay with going for a multi-center start if that's the way I feel is actually best. That being said, I have VORP up, and I'm using an adjusted VORP with schedule and positional stuff for my actual rankings that I'm drafting off of. So I've got a lot of different stuff going on, and I'm not gonna be too mad about whatever way it comes out.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is some element for sure in this league where you got to figure out what you're doing because of the 3 center, 3 left wing, 3 right wing. You have to roster players at each of those positions and get deep with it. I was probably going to take Bouchard, to be quite honest with you, if Bouchard had come there. And since he's gone, that ends the tier at defense for me personally. And I think I'm looking around. There's some guys that I could contest in just raw fantasy points might be here, but I am going to stick with the adjusted VORP rankings that I've built for myself. And I'm going to put my money where my mouth is at the same time. And I'm going to go ahead and draft one Mr. Jason Robertson.
Oh, wow. I like that. Yeah, man. Dude, you're just a freaking cheat code out here. Adjusted. What the hell? What are you even doing? I know what you're doing. All right, but yeah, Nate's like a classical guy. I think I'm more jazz. What do you think about that analysis there, Nate?
Classic versus jazz. Yeah, I could see that. That could be our dynamic.
Okay,
We could claim that for ourselves.
I think so. I feel good about that.
I
Oh,
think so too. You've got a couple of picks coming up here. You're gonna have to figure out what you're gonna do. You're gonna start the next tier of D, perhaps. We got fired up in the comments where we're reaching on Mika Zibanejad, fourth round. I think we'll leave that to you, good sir. I think that might be where you value Zibanejad at this year, but might not be us. Ryan was worried that I was going to take Forsberg and is happy to see me not take Forsberg. I was thinking about Forsberg.
yep.
In raw fantasy points, he's definitely right there. But left wing, right wing for Robertson, he's higher in the adjusted stuff for me. So that's why Nashville has pretty much the worst off night schedule of any team.
Yep.
So yeah, maybe you don't care as much with your very first pick, like you want just the best player overall with your very first pick, and so you might lean into that a little bit more at the top. But also, I really do feel, I've said this in multiple times, that the second round is just like a really big flat tier in a lot of respects. And in that case, I do feel pretty comfortable getting a dual eligible guy, getting a guy I've been vocally very high on all off season, and getting a guy who actually does show out really highly in my sheet as currently constructed. The sheets never lie, Blake. This is what I'm telling myself.
I feel
As
good
you
about that.
draft a certain Sam Reinhart with your first pick here and add, oh yeah, it goes back around to 301. I was wondering what happened there. I forgot my own system that I've constructed for this league. We went back to the 301, and Clayton Keller goes at the 301 to Fogtown.
I like that. Reinhardt, he doesn't feel like the most exciting pick, especially with Barkov and Tkachuk out, but it's safe. I feel like it's safe. I like the dual eligibility there. I mean, you're getting the good power play numbers, but I don't know. Talk to me actually, because I am interested about your Jason Robertson there at 2.7, because that's probably a little bit higher than maybe people are thinking. And just maybe talk us through your thought process there.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit like he does show out pretty well in this format. So the goal scoring, the shot volume that I have him projected for, good power play points, that all shows out pretty well for me. Then he gets a boost for the positionality, the left wing, right wing in my adjusted VORP here. He obviously gets the best version of VORP because he has both winger eligibility, so he gets that value of replacement boost. And then, like I said, I really do feel like this whole second round, like I don't view him much differently than anywhere basically this Rantanen all the way through to where we're at Boldy here at the 3-2. Like this is all roughly the same caliber of player to me, at least fantasy points wise,
Yep.
in the projections. And so I'm just kind of trusting the spreadsheet doing its work here that, get the dual eligibility. That's what's elevating him here. Get the guy who shows out pretty well in the format in my projections. And I'm just going to trust it. So that's the way it's working for me. Sam Reinhart, we've got some questions. Barkov is out. They're wondering if you know this, Blake. Do you know that Alexander Barkov is out and you still took Sam Reinhart?
What? God, stop the draft. Oh my God. He's a sex panther, all right? It doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter. He's going to play 25 minutes a night. I don't even give a damn. But yeah, it's not a sexy pick. I definitely understand that, but I'm just trying to be safe here in a group of kind of killers here. I want to make sure that, I just have a really solid floor, and I feel like there's, some potential later on for some ceiling plays. So I'm going floor early.
I don't mind it. I think that Reinhardt is fully capable of driving his own offense. Yeah, you're gonna get a bit of a hit. You're gonna take a bit of a hit when a player of Barkov's caliber goes out. There's no two ways about that. Mitch Marner going this late is pretty crazy. You won't see that in a lot of leagues, but that's honestly where I have him. Like I don't think that that's really at all far off.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a couple of targets here that I'm pretty okay with. So I'm not too displeased about how this is shaking out. I think that either way this goes, Seth Jarvis, interesting. That multi-eligibility doing work there. Center, left wing, right wing for Seth Jarvis this year. For myself, it is going to be, now I got to make a decision because that was not one of the two that I was deciding between. I'm actually in a tough spot here. I think I'm going to go with who I consider to be the safest player on the board right now. I'm going to go back to forward, keep adding to that group with Jake Gensel. Get him in the middle of the third. That feels really good every single time. I feel pretty solid about the forward core, Matthews, Robertson, Gensel. What do you think, Blake? Tear me apart.
No, I love it. Just a safe player, right? And when I was digging in on Gensel recently on the left winger episode, it's neat to me how his role has changed here on Tampa Bay. Like he's not Hyman, but he's like more of that style player, like just get open and make sure you bury your chances, right? Instead of like more of a play driver that he was with Pittsburgh. But it's a great situation. His power play numbers are going to be insane.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that a lot. We get a Elias Pettersson draft in the third round here. Blake's loving that.
I do love that. Oh my God. This is very stressful. It's definitely a different experience than the draft I just had.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely different than the experience I had in the Bangers Cats draft the other night, which I got like roundly booed for
I saw
in the
that.
comments. That was a pretty fun time in the comments. Apparently, I shouldn't disagree with other people's picks that they're making. I don't know. I
You're
should
just
agree.
Yeah, you're so smug, Nate. You're just
Yeah.
so insufferable. I mean, damn it, But yeah, I liked your draft a lot. That was a fun draft to watch. Just it's a different style of format that we're usually used to. So
Yeah. I'll let you make your picks
You know,
here. You got
that's
Victor
exactly what
Hedman.
I was looking for.
Yeah.
Yossi or Hedman. So
Yeah.
now I'm on tilt, which is not great. But
I was thinking about taking Hedman. It was between Hedman and Gensel for me at the 3-6 there. So I don't, I guess it was actually the 3-7. For some reason, Yahoo doesn't actually update the numbers on the screen. So this is looking like the 3-1 for Blake, and then it's going to go to the 4-12. But for whatever reason. Do you have a decision, Blake, or are we still deep
I'm
in the
between
trenches?
two players, and yeah.
Well, you got two picks here.
Yeah, but I don't want to go these two players.
Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna again just kind of play it smart. Just chip away here. That's I feel good about this. This next pick, not my favorite pick in the world, but I feel like I don't want to get left out in the cold here. I need a defenseman, so I'm gonna go Adam Fox. I think that's early, but at pick one, especially with this group here, I'm going to have to reach to get some players. And yeah, I like the Rangers schedule. Obviously this year, I think they're primed for a big bounce back. So yeah, Natchez and Fox, roast me, Nate. Give it to me, Neil.
Oh man, we had to fit in the reference at least once. I don't mind that start. Like, yeah, maybe this is on the higher side of where you'll see him go. But when you're on the turn, we've talked about this a lot. When you're on the turn, you really can't be a chooser when it comes to some of these runs that we expect to happen, these tiers that we expect to come off. We expect this draft will be pretty tight in terms of the managers and not allowing some of our favorite values to slip very far to where they might slip in some of the other drafts, like even the content creators draft that we're going to have on Monday. We would expect to see more players slip in that one than we are currently seeing. Now it looks like you found the right spot here, Blake, because 5 of the last 6 picks are now defensemen. So it seems like we are getting that run right here. Maybe I'll be left out in the cold. I mean, if people are listening to this, maybe I shouldn't be talking
It's
too
hard to
much.
live stream this, hey, especially if we're against each other. They're all watching. But I mean, I'll say what you're going to say. I think like I was first overall in the last draft I just did, and I think fading D is just this strategy that kind of you end up having to do because the tiers it feels like they're further apart this year. And I would much rather get a solid offensive option, like a really solid offensive option in this range than really reach for a guy that, I don't know, like a 50 to 60 point defenseman. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. So there is one more D in this tier here that I could think about for myself. Probably everybody knows who I'm talking about. Or I could go nuclear. Don't really think this is a spot to do that. I think I can get some comparable value later. I would have considered Celebrini for sure if he had made it to my pick there, but yeah, these two guys in front of me are just gonna sit there sniping me all night. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go Morrissey here. Again, similar to your pick of Fox, I don't necessarily love it, but I do feel that it's a safe pick, that I'm not gonna be, it's not gonna be the reason I lose this season.
Yep.
I mean, I guess if he gets injured, then sure, but based on his actual play when he does play, I do think that Morrissey is a pretty safe option, and I do need to fill out some D spots. There is a little bit of less emphasis, I will say, in the APL on defense than you will see in some other leagues, just because we do start 9 forwards versus, standard Yahoo is 6. So we've got 9 forwards plus a utility spot, which often goes to a forward as well. So I think there's a little bit of a little slight de-emphasis on D versus some other leagues where you might see all the D go super high. But yeah, I think that getting Morrissey feels like the end of the tier there for me, and so that feels like a good spot to snap him up. Would you have considered him there? Did I make a mistake, Blake?
Come on. Yeah, I've had that exact same thought process last draft I did, and I passed on Morrissey, but yeah, he's kind of the back end of that tier, and I think it makes sense, right? Like if you don't take him, then now you're waiting probably a couple rounds, even if you're looking to try and get someone at the proper value.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I do think that makes a lot of sense to me. We get Konechny and Scheifele going off after that. A lot of solid floor being taken in this draft. You see these players, these high-end managers really valuing that floor very strongly. I think doing it quite appropriately here so far. Adrian Kempe, another classic floor pick. Nobody's going out and making big swings. Figure Me Timbers had the Morrissey pick. Josh Nelson says, never showing why getting Kale in the first round is so strong. Yeah, definitely have to believe that that's a great spot
Ooh.
to do it. Big Dipper's loving the stashes. What a great looking live. I appreciate you. I'm like flexing the DB here. We get Hagel, and then we get Dylan Gunther, who I believe was the reason for the ooh out of you, Blake. What do you think of Dylan Gunther at the 411?
I like it. I think he has a chance to hit that value, maybe beat it, but it's all dependent on ice time, right? Like everyone around the guy is saying the right things. Like he's going to pop off. He's going to score 50 goals in this league. But we know what happened with him last year in his ice time. It was like kind of the 16 to 18 minute treatment. And that show ain't no good, like for a 4th-round pick. So I'd love to see kind of a 18 to 19 to 20-minute Dylan Gunther. And now we're in business. Now we're looking at a 70 to 80 to 85-point player with big-time goals, big-time shots. Like he's a stud. He's an absolute stud. And I like the pick. I think it's fun. And he's at the back of the draft here, picking at 11. So I think it makes some sense.
Yeah. Big Dipper's loving the deepest of V's. Decker says, Hagel not power play 1 in camp preseason, valid concern. I think we kind of built that in, both of us, into our projections. We didn't, make the assumption that he was on top power play. We do think, I mean, I'll speak for myself at least here. I do think he'll get on the top power play at times throughout the season, but it's never been a calling card for Hagel. So both of us built him in some regression from that 90-point season a year ago. And I think we're pretty comfortable with where the projections have him. I don't know. What do you think, Blake?
Yeah, I mean, I feel totally comfortable with what we had. News came out today. He didn't finish the game. He was injured in the game tonight. So that show ain't no good. All right. I like the player, but we'll see, right? They like Bjorkstrand over there, the jerk store over Hagel. What are you doing? Nate, where are you at with this everything bagel take? I was getting rinsed online for this. Buddy, don't put those flavors together. What is it, like onion flakes and poppy seeds? Get that the hell out of my sight. I mean, where are you at with this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gluten free, not by choice.
Lucky you.
So
You don't have to suffer through this flavor.
yeah, for me, bagels are not really an option unless I get like the truly awful cardboard version that's gluten free. So I don't experience this much
Okay.
the either way. But back in the day, I did enjoy a good everything bagel. I wouldn't say it was like my favorite, but it was definitely an acceptable version. The best one was always the cinnamon raisin ones, though. Those
Yeah.
were the ones
Yeah,
that I
that's
live
elite.
for.
Yeah, give
Yeah.
me cinnamon raisin or plain. Everything. I don't know. I'm the oddball here. I know I am. That's fine.
All right. Get Ehlers, Bedard, Aho. Aho and Ehlers were definitely on the board for me
Mhm.
coming into this pick here. Now we're getting into the range where it really does start to feel for me like the value has left the board and you're just kind of taking good players, not great players to a large extent.
Mhm.
Yeah, once you hit the Brinket tier, like that's a little bit of
Yeah,
where that
it's only
starts
round
to.
5. I mean, geez.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I might do something outlandish here.
Oh my.
I mean, there's still a lot of options that I like. It's just what actually fits with this squad. I don't know that I need to do this,
Do it.
but I think I am. I think it's just again, I'm still very focused on floor through the 5 rounds here. I'm going Nico Heishir. Um, he just absolutely shows out in all the stuff. I'm super, super high on the player. I have him projected for 82 points this year, over 200 shots. Staple on what should be yet again basically the best power play in the NHL.
Hmm.
So I think he's just again super safe. And I'm not really feeling the defense jumping into that next tier just yet. Lane Hudson goes off after, along with Tim Stützle. I took a glance at Stützle, but um, I think he has to have like a big time 90-point season again. And I've talked about this before, but I just really don't know if I see that under Travis Green. I just don't think Ottawa's interested in setting personal scoring records for their players
Yep.
this year. I think they're really focused on doing a lot of what they did last year that made them successful for the first time in a number of years. And they have a good group of players. They should be able to get back to the playoffs, but I think they've realized what they need to do is play good defense and let the rest come from there. And so I don't really expect Ottawa to have some sort of bounce back offensively for some of these guys who were, a little bit down last year.
I do think Brady Tkachuk has a bounce back in him, but I mean, not a big bounce back, right? Like, yeah, I think there's some meat on the bone there. Dear God.
What are we doing? Like, you got options here for sure. We're definitely into the mushy middle of D, as I've referred to it multiple times this year. Then this is another range where I think for me, like I would put Heishir in this Aho Ehlers kind of
Mhm.
tier for me personally. And then after that, it really does feel for me like it falls off. And then there is probably a group of close to 20 guys who all start to feel the same for me yet again. Um, we've got we've got a lot of good comments. Ryan wants you to go Hero G. I
Hero
really thought
G.
it was
What
Heli
an absolute,
time.
yeah. Yeah.
He sure
Helly time.
huge.
Somebody's going to do it. Who? Like, where is Hellebuck going to go in this draft? That's an interesting question.
That is
Um,
a very interesting question in this particular draft. Nick Suzuki is the first pick that Blake puts up on the board.
mhm.
Um, that's a choice, and we'll see what he does with the next one as I chirp him while he's making another pick live. Agent Orange has a suggestion. Bad Speller has a suggestion. That's a pretty great username, I must admit. I'm a big fan of that. Kevin Fiala is a great pick.
That's how we're getting to biz. Again, Suzuki's a floor play. Obviously, that team I think should be a lot better offensively, potentially, but yeah, it's a floor play there.
Yeah, I don't mind that pick whatsoever. Definitely in the range here. Definitely towards the top of my rankings here at this point in
Oh,
time. Matthew Barzal is the next pick. Ripping Blake's heart out. He thought he could get him all the way back around.
You can't leave anybody. I mean, oh God, Josh. I remember Josh kind of he made fun of me last year about the microstats. Now who's laughing, Josh? All right, buddy. What are you talking about? You're getting Barzal at value 6'11". You're loving life. Or 6'2".
I'm into it. I'm into it. Yeah, 6'2". Yeah, that is kind of weird. Yahoo doesn't update the numbers. It just kind of shows you the direction you're headed. Even the directions are wrong though. We're headed the other direction.
Yeah, it's
It
very
just,
confusing.
yeah. Either way, nobody has really taken the step into the next tier of defense here.
Don't bring
Which,
that.
sorry.
Oh,
I really feel like I'm not like
oh God.
getting one over on anybody, in this draft. Like I kind of feel more free than I normally feel to just kind of talk about who I think is a good pick here, because I do expect that all of the players that I think should go off will go off within like half a round of where I would take them by and large. So
Isn't that an interesting thought? Like we're basically just looking at tiers now, and which player in which tier you're comfortable with. It's not so much about getting value, right? Maybe there is. Like I'm really looking forward to seeing this draft at the end and seeing where, yeah, like how did that guy slip there or what happened here, right? But I just haven't seen it yet.
All right, we're up to Nimmer and then Ryan and then back to me. Friggin' Timber says have to pay for Yahoo Premium for the draft board to be accurate. Yeah,
Well worth the money.
everything's got to be premium now. There's always a premium version. I mean, I guess I can't say too much. I've got a Patreon, and I have different tiers in the Patreon, so I should probably mind my P's and Q's there a little bit. Matvey Michkov goes off one pick before me. I was probably going to go for the swing there on Michkov. Because yeah, I'm just feeling hypey like that. After setting this floor, I feel tremendous about the floor of this team at this point. And I was prepared to get a little hypey at this spot. Now I'm going to have to recalibrate just a little bit. And I don't love the value here. I might stick floor once again. There's a few floor plays out here that are still solid. Or I might, man, I don't love anything on this board. I think I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go with my guy, old reliable Alex Tuck.
Nice.
This may be a tiny bit of a reach here, not by my sheet, but just by maybe you think you can get him in the 7th and you don't have to pull him up to the 6th, but I don't think he's coming back to me in this situation by any stretch, because basically it looks like everybody's drafting off my projections here when I'm watching my sheet just go down. All the X's that I'm having to put through everybody's. So yeah, again, I just feel like I'm not going to pull anything over on anybody in this draft, so I'm just going to take the player that I think fits the team. I need the right wing. Alex Tuck is, to me, just about as safe as they come. Lindy Ruff has finally started tuning into the Apples and Ginos Fantasy Hockey podcast and has put Alex Tuck on the top power play, so we've got that sorted. And yeah, I think, like, I don't know, I'm cautiously optimistic that, Tuck can have, the young guys can get a year older there in Buffalo, and Tuck can have a cemented role. Ryan McLeod, if he can maintain some modicum of the efficiency that he showed last year as the second line center there, maybe it's actually a pretty good spot for one Mr. Alex Tuck. What do you think about Tuck in the 6th? Too early for you?
It would have been too early for me, but it makes absolute sense. I mean, the guy covers so many categories, and it's the blocks, right? Like blocks are decently weighted here in this format. So you said it's a floor play, and it is a floor play with a little bit, right? He's not the biggest power play performer, but that doesn't mean he won't be next season. Maybe he's a bigger part of the power play, right? Like he has some headroom there. If they decide to go a different way, they have different personnel there. So can he get some more points on the power play? Like, yeah, we could be looking at 70 to 80 point Alex Tuck. Like that's not out of the realm of possibilities.
Absolutely agree. After my Tuck pick, it goes Rob Thomas, Cole Caulfield, Kirill Marchenko. Yeah.
I'm not crazy. I'm just a little unwell. Wow. Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. I can't pick holes, pick holes.
Yeah.
I can't poke holes. Yeah. Don't do anything with holes. Can't do anything wrong with.
I mean, yeah. Come
Can't do anything, say anything bad
You
about
lost
those
it.
picks at this spot. I did lose it a
Yeah.
little bit there. I have to admit it was a good pull. I'm very interested. Um, I'm just gonna say I'm very interested about this defense situation that we've got going on
Yeah.
here. Wyatt Johnston was the other one I was considering versus Alex Tuck there in the sixth. I'm a little bit thrown by the deployment that Johnston's been getting. It seems like he's the guy who gets shuffled around the most in these lineups that Glenn Gulletson has been putting together. I
Right.
think over the course of the season, like I haven't actually adjusted my projection because I do think like over the course of the year it all kind of works out and Johnson gets his. But it in terms of like projecting a ceiling case, you would have loved to see Johnson like in a primo spot, right? At least with some of the other top six guys there. And the fact that we're not getting that is just kind of it's just kind of knocking him down like I don't know half a peg, knocking him to the back of the tier instead of the top of the tier. That kind of stuff for me, just mentally at least. So I don't know. How do you feel about Wyatt Johnston, given what we've seen at a training camp?
Yeah, he's kind of like Nico Heishir a little bit. Not that Nico Heishir's getting bombed down the lineup, but it's just he's not getting the full like he's the number one guy, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I do like the dual eligibility there. I was hoping, against all odds that Wyatt Johnson might make it back around, but that was kind of wishful thinking. I like the Alex Tuck pick there. I think yeah, you're getting that floor. Whereas yeah, like you said, Wyatt Johnston, maybe that floor isn't quite as solid as Alex Tuck, but I think the ceiling is a lot higher.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely the ceiling, I think you have to say, is higher there. Nazem Kadri goes. That's
Look at these
another
picks.
player. That's another player that's high on my list right now,
Me
too.
too,
So,
man. Stinks.
yeah. That's like if you see Kadri go in the sixth round, then you know that you're in a sharp draft, basically. We've got some more good stuff. People are loving the creamy tunes out of you, Blake. Agent
Oh
Orange
yeah.
says Blake and singing songs he doesn't know the lyrics to, name a more iconic duo.
Does anyone, when they're singing songs, do you just sing what you think they're saying? Like, I swear, I didn't know the
Yeah.
lyrics for some of my favorite songs until I was in my 40s, and I was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
that's what they're saying there. All right, I just sing the vowels basically. Just that's
Yeah.
Jackson Lacombe. What are you doing at 74? God dang it!
Well, if he had come back to me, I would have taken Jackson Lacombe there. That's for sure.
This is
Because yeah,
horse poop. All right.
he was the highest player on my board when I took Tuck, but I figured I couldn't take Lacombe at 6'7". I just took him in the last draft, and I've got a ton of them on drafters, so I'm gonna be okay letting somebody else have some enjoyment of Jackson Lacombe this year. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about what Jackson Lacombe might be able to do this year. Big, huge contract, 8 years, 9 million per. What do you think of that, Blake? Like, there's two trains of thought, right? Like, if he is just the player that he was at the end of last year for the rest of this deal, then it's a smash. Like the cap going up, $9 million, your number one D is locked up for 8 years, then that's a smash to me.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me. I just remember at the end of last year when I was digging in on all the microstats, and Jackson Lacombe was one of the guys that we identified. We're like, what the hell? Like, I didn't watch a ton of Jackson Lacombe last year. I saw highlights, but then once I started digging in, I was like, yeah, this guy's a special player, and he really broke out. And it makes some sense that this is what teams are doing now. The cap is a little bit weird. The shenanigans there, like you look at a player like Jackson Blake getting that massive contract, Frank Nazar getting the massive contract after just one season. And yeah, now Jackson Lacombe broke out last year, and now he's got a massive contract. I think it's going to age really, really well. And that's power play one money. That's going to happen. I think I like Zellweger the other night. He played like 13 minutes, so I think it's Jackson Lacombe to the moon. This guy's going to have an amazing season.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I had what did I have? 53 points, I think, for Jackson Lacombe, and that was yeah, I had 52. Sorry, but that was with 13 power play points. If he's power play one all year, you got to think that's pretty conservative. And yeah, we could be looking at even more for Jackson Lacombe. Plus the off nights in Anaheim. What is not to love about Jackson
Oh,
Lacombe
yeah.
this year? Dylan Holloway goes off. It does really feel like people are reading off my spreadsheets, which they may well be. It is the APL after all. I don't honestly know what I'm going to do here. I feel a little bit up in the air as to what might be best for this particular squad. It really feels like we got into another tier here, and it's just all kind of picks that I'm not going to get excited about. Are there any guys, you don't have to name them obviously, but are there any guys on your board right now, Blake, that you're like just crossing your fingers and praying they're coming back to you?
No, it's weird. It's like, I'm looking at this list and it's like, yeah, it's just people at the value that they should be at.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope some of my upside players are there, right? But I'm already looking at taking players higher than they should be going, right? So it's just it's a weird, yeah, it's an interesting draft. I knew it was coming, but it's still weird to sort of be in it and see what's going on. And then you get kind of like Seabass takes Hellebuck at 7-9. I mean, that's wild value, like I think that's just an interesting pick. I know that goalies are sort of devalued a little bit in this league here, but I feel like that's a pretty nice pick in the 7th round.
Yeah, hard to argue with that. I am running down the clock here. I think I'm gonna take a swing on some talent and probably hurt you a little bit here.
Oh,
I want
you
Jordan
son of a-
Kyrou in some spot this year, and he is just a part of this massive tier. He's not at the top of it, in the rankings here actually, but I think I want a piece of it. I need another right wing to kind of feel like I'm staying balanced with my roster construction so far. Nichushkin was another consideration for me. I think Kyrou is just super dynamic. I was watching. I
Yeah.
mean, this is what watching preseason can do to you. But I was watching him and Holloway the other night go to work, and I was like, "Oh man,
Yeah,
I got to
that did
get
look
me a
good.
piece of that."
Yeah, that was a really cool highlight. Holloway, man, I still can't understand how Edmonton, like, do you think they could use a player like Dylan Holloway right now? That's wild stuff. I mean, that's a whiff for sure.
Yeah, Von Zuli says 6 to 8 rounds be like that this year. I definitely agree. Connor's asking, are there any more spots for your Patreon league? No, there are no more spots now, but we are taking people on the waiting list, so you can sign up $2 a month. And I'm sure throughout the course of the year, we'll have some people drop off, personal reasons, whatever. They won't be able to maintain their team, so you can get in. And perhaps if you're good enough, if they're good enough as well, you can guide that team into the upper echelon of your division and get yourself a promotion heading into next year. If you wait until next year, then you're just going to join at the bottom of the tiers. But if you get in on the waiting list and you get yourself into a team this year, you at least have a chance to get yourself higher in the tiers for next year. So I definitely encourage anybody who's thinking about that $2 a month tier on Patreon, throw yourself in there, get on the list.
Oh, come on.
Dougie Hamilton was a good pick this late. I mean, we have to figure out what's going on there because yeah, obviously it's been Hamilton on top power play this whole time because Luke Hughes hasn't been there. Now Luke Hughes is signed 7 years, $9 million per year, and we're getting what are we getting basically? We still don't really know. I've been of the opinion that Sheldon Keefe's not really gonna let Luke Hughes just walk in back off the street and straight onto the top power play. But I mean, yeah, it is Luke Hughes. It is Jack Hughes' little brother. The Hughes boys kind of run that team a little bit. Tom Wilson is a great pick. That was another one I was considering. I already have Tom Wilson in another spot, and that's why I went with Kyrou instead at my pick. But Wilson was actually ranked higher for me on the sheets, so I'm in favor of the Tom Wilson pick here for sure. He's got to go with another one, and he does go with Luke Hughes. Talk to me about it, Blake.
It's not what I wanted, right? I wanted Dougie there. I would have left Luke Hughes. I think Luke Hughes could probably go another couple rounds or at least a round, but I don't know. That's an upside pick, obviously, right? Like we need power play one. But again, like you dig in on the micro stats on Luke Hughes, it's just a completely different player than Dougie Hamilton. So it's all about what they want to do there, right? But I think regardless if he gets power play one or not, he's still going to chug minutes. I think, his floor without power play one is probably like 45 points, which is all right. But I think with power play one, like his ceiling could be 60. So that's fine. No periffs, which is stinky, but yeah, it's not my favorite pick, but I it could hit.
Yeah. I mean, definitely I think it's higher than, his projection warrants, but I've talked at length this offseason about how I think that if any defenseman blasts off to like the 70 plus point level this year, it's Luke Hughes, it's Thomas Harley. Like those are the two guys that I think have that kind of uh, just blast off breakout potential this year if everything goes their way. And so, yeah, you're going to have to pay up for that, especially in a sharp draft like this where that kind of potential is going to be um, well drafted, I guess, is,
Yep.
is what I can go with.
No, you got it. That's good.
This is a spot yet again where I don't love anything on the board. There are some players that show up pretty good in the projections, and it just feels early at the end of the day. Oh man, I'm considering so many things. I'm not gonna let myself auto draft Jeremy Swayman here. Don't worry, people.
Do it for the content. Come on, it was great content, Nate.
Do it for the content. Should I?
Please don't. I don't want to see you sad again, Nate. All right,
Matthew Tkachuk.
Oh my!
I
like
think
that.
in a league like this, I think I missed on him in that Bangers Cats league. I just kind of like put him out of my mind because I was thinking like I can't have him on my first two drafts of the year, and I just kind of put him out of my mind and wasn't thinking about it. But him going in the 15th in that draft was like crazy. I shouldn't have let that happen. So in a spot where again I just feel like I'm in the midst of a huge tier of players and everything feels the same and I don't feel like I'm getting an edge. This feels like a way that I could get an edge, at a future date.
Yep.
It feels like a league in which you might need an edge to actually win it. And so, yeah, I'm obviously giving up an eighth round pick. But again, I feel so good about the floor of this team that I feel like I'm going to be around it. It might not be the best team in the league by the time Tkachuk comes back, but can it be, you know, in the playoff picture? And then he comes back, and now all of a sudden I've got the best version of this team rocking and rolling. And I'm heading into the fantasy playoffs and actually starting to get some work done. That's the vision. Yeah, I feel like I had to right the wrong from the other draft earlier this week. And in the eighth round, Matthew Tkachuk, even if he only plays the last 30 games of the year, like that's the fantasy playoffs. That's when I need him.
Yep.
And with Barkov presumably out for the whole season, like he's gonna be needed to be at full strength. So they're not gonna rush him back. They're gonna need him back at full strength. They're not gonna ease him back in, especially if they're somewhat close to the edge of the playoffs or trying to get the right spot as they were this past year. I just feel like Matthew Tkachuk could be the edge that you need in a league that's going to be as tightly contested as this one.
Yeah, it's you need those micro edges, man. Like that's this article you wrote, how to beat sharp drafters, basically. Like that's what we're looking for. We're looking for every little edge, right? And if you can keep yourself around it up until Tkachuk comes back, I mean, now you got a first to second rounder on your squad just to finish the season. Like it's a no brainer. I like that value there at 8-7 or whatever. Or what is that? 8-6. I can't. I'm confused with what Yahoo's doing. But I like the pick a lot. I haven't been too interested in getting guys like Hyman or Tkachuk this year. I want to put my best foot forward, like right off the bat. I found sometimes in leagues, like I get off to a slow start, while everything's kind of settling, and I might take a couple L's in the first 2 weeks, and it's like I'm determined this year to not let that happen. I want to make sure that I get off to a good start in most of my leagues. So, yeah, it's I like what you said too about sort of your vision of your team. It's like just be around it, right? Like I think after our drafts, we're usually like, oh, I'm going to win, no problem, right? I'll be in top of the league. It's like, no, you just want to make sure you're around it because fantasy hockey is 2 games. It's the draft and then it's in season, right? And they're 2 completely separate things. So, yeah, we want to set ourselves up, but also in season is where we get to biz, isn't it, Nate?
It is where we get to biz. And we do get to biz pretty successfully in season, so I do feel good about that. I am going to have to think about defense at some point. I've only got the one so far. And to be honest, I'm pretty okay with that. Yeah, yeah, in this particular setup, I don't think it's the end of the world to have faded D to this extent. In some other leagues where D are much more valuable, then I think it might be a little bit more the end of the world, and I might have drafted a little bit differently in some of these spots. But yeah, I I don't feel pressed. Basically, is where I'm at the moment with the D situation that I've currently got going on. What are you seeing on this board, Blake? Talk to me about Rupe Hintz, Tyler Toffoli at the 901. That's earlier than you normally see him go.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's really a stark difference. I literally just did a draft that was a Bangers Cats league, and then into this, and yeah, the values are just completely different. But Tyler Toffoli, big time shooter, right? That's a good up and coming team. I don't mind the pick. Dual eligibility. Eric Carlson, I think, is a good pick for Fogtown there. And then Rupe Hintz and Logan Cooley, the last two picks for Sideshow's team there. I like it.
Yeah.
I think, that's really nice potential. Obviously, Logan Cooley's, a little banged up, and plus he's going to potentially start on power play 2, which is not awesome, but he was on power play 2 last year and he got 70 points. So I feel like that's reasonable to start there. Like, the team's only gotten better, and he's gotten a better line mate out of it, right? Yeah. Like, he's going to be playing with Paterka, which is nuts. So that's going to be a really fun team there. I think there's so many good center onlys out there. Like, I noticed that again, last draft, this draft, there's always those guys there. And I really feel like it pays to sort of prioritize wingers early if you can, because there's so many guys that are, that's where our value is really going to come, I think.
Yep. Definitely agree with all that. This is another spot, I can consider D here. I don't think I'm considering the goalies. I think I talked about it a little bit in the correct way to draft goalies episode, which is my favorite rage bait title that I've come up with over the years. But I just don't feel like, I feel like there is still a gap, an obvious gap between Vasilevsky and the next group, which for me is Ottinger and Shesterkin. I think Shesterkin is really talented. I think Ottinger's in a great situation. I just don't know if that's a player that I need to take in the 9th round. Like, I most likely it'll be good, but everybody thought Shesterkin was the number 1 goaltender last year, and he most certainly was not. This spot kind of sucks. I'm not going to lie. I think I'm going to take a player I feel pretty good about. Again, a bit of a floor play, but feel pretty good about, if I can actually get there. But Thomas Hertl, I haven't really talked about Thomas Hertl, I feel like, this year. But he was a huge part of that power play last year. He was so effective on that power play. I just feel like there's no way he comes off it. Rickard Rakell is the other player that I was actually looking at there as well. And with the triple eligibility, that's obviously nice.
Yep.
So that was another consideration. Pavel Dorofeev, I don't honestly know what to do with Dorofeev at this point, right? Hasn't played any of camp, basically. Like, we just have no clue what that's going to look like. Could be nice, could be just mired in the 3rd line for quite a while as he gets untracked from an injury. You could see like what Jason Robertson ended up going through last year, or it just took forever for him to get himself sorted. You could see a similar situation for Dorofeev this year. Maybe he is rocking on power play 1 and playing with Mitch Marner at even strength by the end of the year, but I really doubt at this point that we're going to get that at the beginning of the year. And so, yeah, it's going to be hard for him. Like, in a format this deep, he'll at least be relevant. I don't think he's going to get dropped in this format, most likely, as long as he's getting some level of minutes. But still, the shine is definitely worn off a little bit on Dorofeev, at least for the early going. I still believe in the talent. It's just about how can you project him to have a really big role off the top after being so unavailable basically for all of camp here.
No, that makes sense to me. Oh God. All right.
This is how Blake opens every one of his picks.
It's true. Oh, geez. Oh, come on. What the heck? I'm going to go floor here too. And a little bit of, actually, I'm just going to look and see what I'm going to do next. So I don't.
That's all right. You can think about it. You don't have to talk us through live. We're definitely getting down into where some people might start taking some bigger swings, like maybe Dorofeyev is a bit of a swing there. Stamkos is definitely on my radar for my next pick. I really don't mind that. Center, left wing, right wing. The Nashville schedule is pretty awful, as I mentioned. Heiskanen is a nice pick. That was another one that I was definitely going to consider at the next one. That actually feels pretty good to me. You must feel good about that.
I do. And Heiskanen, before we heard this report that they're going to potentially go 50-50 on the power play, I'm not super interested in. Like, I was definitely a Harley truther, right? But if that, even if they go, 55-45 or something, Harley, like, Heiskanen's still a guy that power play was great with Heiskanen on it last year. They were just unlucky. They weren't converting, but they were still getting the chances. Their expected goals for was huge while Heiskanen was out there. They just couldn't get it done. So he's going to play a ton of minutes. I like that. And then Stamkos with the triple eligibility. I like that. I mean, we're looking at 30 goals. Regardless of what he does, we should get 30 goals, over 20 power play points. And there's a nuclear option there as well. This is still Stamkos. He's not some old man. I feel like, yeah, he could get 70 points, right? It's not what we projected, but I think there's an opportunity there.
Yeah, I really like both of those picks there. I think they make a lot of sense to me at this stage. Still, like, kind of feel like floor plays just because they're going to be on the ice a lot and in crucial situations, but also definitely big upside as well. Troy Terry in the 10th round, you knew it was going to happen in the APL. Yeah, it's just got to happen.
Do you have him anywhere here, Nate? Terry?
Yeah, I got him in the Bangers Cats, which is obviously not his best spot, but it's also a league in which I really need the off nights. So he got pulled up just because of that. So yeah, feeling not too bad about that. Fantilli goes. That's a fun pick. I think this might be a spot to get back into D for me here. There's a few options, but Morgan Riley, I might take a swing on here. Like, I really try to leave out my personal. I misspelled Riley. That's bad. I really try to leave out my personal feelings about hockey when I'm doing my fantasy drafts, and I really, for the most part, succeed, I think. But Morgan Riley has been my favorite Leaf for a very long time, basically since he was drafted and came into the league, and it was like kind of the guy that we could kind of get excited about before we got into the Matthews-Marner era. And so I have a lot of warm feelings in my heart about Morgan Riley. And yeah, I don't know that this pick is going to, I don't think he's going to blow up. I think his ceiling is probably 55 points. I haven't projected for 48. I don't think this is a pick that's going to blow anybody's socks off, but to get another D, I did need to consider a defenseman at this spot, I think. And there are a few that I could have considered, but I think Riley's role is pretty secure at this point. Maybe they go get a power play defenseman at some point, but I also think that would also have to include some injury to the Leafs defense that they would have to fill, because I think the defense is quite locked in. I think they really like the defense as currently constructed in Toronto. I'm struggling to see how Morgan Riley isn't on the power play for the entire year. And yeah, he may do poorly at it like he did last year. That's definitely a possibility. But it's a swing that I'm willing to take at this point. We get some hypey picks coming off here now in the 10th. Cutter Gauthier, Ivan Demidov, Quentin Byfield, JJ Peterka. What's your favorite here, Blake?
Might be Demidov, honestly. I don't know. And I like Gauthier. I'm not as big of a Gauthier fan as you, but I just saw him the other night and I watched actually a lot of that game. He's awesome out there, man. This guy's shot is next level, and he just needs the opportunity. But and Demidov as well. Like, is he going to get power play one? Him and Laine, like, I saw an interesting post from Jack Hahn on Twitter, is like saying, if I was the coach, this is the power play I would put out, and it had Laine and Demidov on it, and then Bolduc obviously off that, and Cole Caulfield in a different position, right? So I think it's got to happen. Demidov is so exciting. So I think, yeah, in the 10th round, that's a really nice upside pick.
Yeah, I mean, we saw proof positive with Martin St. Louis last year, right? He is fully willing to just elevate the exciting young rookie and let him learn on the job and make mistakes because they believe in the player to create more than create more good things than problems at the end of the day.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's an exciting player in an exciting spot. Probably one of the best spots for a young player to come into the league if you really stop to think about it. So hard to be mad at that. It doesn't look like he's on the top power play to start, but you have to imagine that's only a formality if he hits the ceiling that everybody thinks he can hit. We have 120 people watching right now. If you could all just quickly go press the like button on the stream, that'd be greatly appreciated. Dylan Strome goes here. We've got, what is this? 6 goaltenders off the board now in the 11th round. That feels about right.
You getting froggy, Nate?
Getting froggy for a goalie? I can't honestly say that I
I don't
am.
think that's ever happened, actually. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so. Not in recent memory, anyway. My queue just continues to be absolutely decimated by these people, and it feels rough.
What do you mean, these people?
These people out here.
Damn fantasy hockey fiends.
Yeah. I mean, there is some interesting stuff going on out here. Some players I could get behind at the end of the day. Some floor plays, some big swings that you could take. We definitely have lots of interesting players still on the board, you have to say, but definitely there's no value. There's no way you're getting that guy pushed around to the next turn. Jake Wallman's a great pick, but I'm gonna take Vince Dunn here and feel pretty good about it. I was considering taking Dunn over Riley, and I really like Vince Dunn. I think that if he ever got a great situation, like full on power play one on a good team, I think he'd be a 60-point defenseman. And I know he's day to day or whatever at this point, but I'm not that concerned. Like until we get something a little bit more concrete, there are so many guys right now who are day to day because as soon as a guy gets a little bit dinged up, everybody's just like, take him out. Like, what's the point? We're not putting him back out there. So it is hard to really put too much stock into all of these. Probably, one or two out of the 20 guys who are day to day right now, there probably is something going on there, and maybe that's enough to push you off of some of these players. But for me, like, I just want to take the best players, and even if he is a little bit more dinged up and he misses a couple weeks of the season, I think he'll be fine in the long run. How do you feel about Morgan Riley and Vince Dunn as D2 and D3 on my squad?
Yeah, I mean, I think we knew that was coming, right? Like you knew you were going to have to take kind of a lower end defenseman, but they're good. They're just good floor plays, right? And I like Riley's position there. And Dunn, I think as long as he's healthy, he's going to be power play one. So yeah, you're looking at 250-point defensemen maybe that you got at pretty nice value in a draft like this. So I'm here for it. I actually like Montour this year as well. I think he's gone already, but yeah, he is.
Yeah.
But I was looking at him here in a couple spots, but it's just the values didn't match up.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. We got Monahan, we got Geeky.
The Geekster.
It does seem like people are looking at the same numbers I'm looking at from time to time here, which makes a lot of sense. We've got you up on the clock, Blake, so we'll let you ponder your life decisions at the moment. It is starting to dry up. There's less exciting stuff going on the board at this point. This is where Blake makes his stand. He goes with Josh Norris. You love to see it. I mean, buddy. I can see it. I don't know if I'm taking him there, but I can see the pathway. I see the vision that you have, Blake.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah, I'm just looking to keep myself lean and mean here. I don't want too many C-onlys, but that's fine. And I went with Kent Johnson with my next pick there. I like him for 60 to 65 points. And at that point there with triple eligibility, I feel like that's again, kind of another safe play. And he's a good offensive player. So there's some headroom there, but I really do like Norris this year. He's showing out in every, like, I'm using my own projections, and of course I've, boosted Norris to an insane level, but I just can't get away from him, right? He's at the top of my board for the whole time, and it's like I gotta pull the trigger here at some point, and I just think he's going to have a really big year as long as he stays healthy, obviously.
I like it. Can't be mad at somebody going to get their guy. This is interesting. I did think that we'd start to get a little bit more of the kind of this tier of defense going off, but it seems like everybody's holding off, which might be the right move in the long run here. But I think I'm gonna have to go back to forward at this point, unless there's a defenseman that I find that's really screaming at me. Don't really think that's gonna be the case after just taking 2 back to back. So we'll see what I can come up with in terms of Thomas Chabot's a good pick here. That was top of my D board at this point. Just pretty safe. And obviously, if Sanderson ever went down, he'd have the power play. Ryan thinks that Norris looks pretty good in the preseason here. And I have to agree. It has looked like it's working. The vision is coming to fruition. Lindy Ruff, the absolute mastermind.
Yeah, exactly. He knows where his bacon is cooked. All right, and it's right here at the Apples Ginos Fantasy Hockey Podcast. He's listening to us exclusively before games and stuff. It's really good stuff. We don't get we just get the glory. We don't get any money for it, but that's fine. It's nice to be a part of that, isn't it, Nate?
It is nice to be a part of something like that. I really can't besmirch that kind of usage. I mean, I want to get hypey here. That's what I want to do. Should I get hypey is the bigger question. I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm just gonna go get myself a little bit of Will Smith right now before anybody takes him away from me. I feel good about it.
Very nice.
What do you think, Blake? Like, he's definitely above where my sheets say you should take him. I am reaching to take Will Smith there, but what do you think of the player? I know we talked about him on the sleepers, but how early would you have drafted him in this draft here? Where would he have come up for you, do you think?
I mean, we're in sleeper territory, man. So yeah. I think this tier of players becomes so much bigger, right? Like we talked about our sleeper episode, like it's ADP 120 and after. So yeah, I mean, this makes some sense to me. I don't see anyone on the board that's like, hey, what the hell are you doing, man? This is crazy, right? We got a guy that's dual eligible. He's playing on the top power play, and he's playing with a generational player in Macklin Celebrini, and he's no slouch himself, right? Will Smith is a really nice player. So yeah, it's just one of those things. You got to go get your guy. And like you said, you want to get hypey. You have a really solid floor team. It makes absolute sense. I wonder what kind of year San Jose is actually going to have record-wise. Do you think they take a step there, or is it still just kind of trash, but they're just having a good time?
I think it's probably still mostly trashy, unless Askarov is just out of his mind in his first year in the NHL. Like, I guess that's a possibility. It doesn't seem like a very realistic one, especially just given how bad that defense looks on paper. It's possible, though. I will say it's possible. Ryan Donato feels like a good pick here for Seabass. Center, left wing, right wing, even if he's not on power play 1, it's just so useful. Off nights, the whole package. Yep. Playing with Bedard at even strength, every single line rush we've seen throughout training camp here, so that seems pretty locked in. I really think that they learned their lesson last year with moving Bedard around so much, and this year they're just gonna, and that's a good spot for your guy Burakovsky too. It really seems like they're just going to lock that in and let it play out for, I feel like, at least 20 games we're going to see of those guys at this point. Just given how locked in it's been, it seems very, very intentional through this preseason how they've put the top 6 together, and they've just left it and they haven't touched it once.
Yeah, I would just give Burakovsky power play 1. That would be really nice. I think now we're looking at a player of interest. I don't think that he's draftable unless you're in a deep league. But yeah, there's something there with that player. Watch that player, folks. All right, mark my words. Boone Jenner.
Watch that player. Yeah, Boone Jenner was showing up at the top of my board here too. I don't hate that. Brock Besser, another one at the top of the board. So
Mhm.
continuing the theme of just no value falling whatsoever.
Right.
I have been remiss and I haven't been chirping Reese's Pieces picks enough, and I know he's waiting for that. So I'll queue up my insults for the 13th round pick here.
Nice. Yeah, he deserves it. All right. Yeah. Hey, thanks for stepping up, my man. Joining the big boys. Happy to have you.
Definitely. Eklund goes. That's a player you've been high on, Blake. What do you think Eklund's potential is? It seems like he's on that second line with Toffoli there. Maybe Michael Misa, if Misa's going to stick around all year in San Jose. What do you think? Is that obviously we were hoping to see him get a little bit more even strength Celebrini exposure, but he's still on power play one.
Yeah, I'm still into it. I think that second line has some juice. Michael Misa could be a nice little rookie here. But Eklund, I think they're prioritizing. I mean, just looking at the box scores in the last San Jose game, this guy had 20 minutes out there, 20 minutes, and he had 7 shots. So I think, and he's a big time blocker for a forward as well. I mean, a lot of the forwards on San Jose are because it's an onslaught, when they're in the defensive zone. But yeah, I'm still a big fan of him. Obviously, it would be much better if he was playing with Celebrini at even strength. But I think the ice time, the deployment is still going to be there, and it's a nice pick. I'm still into it.
I love it. We are definitely eating away at this forward tier. We get Aiden Hill at the 1303 to Nolan. Disgusting. How dare you? But
How dare you, sir?
we I mean, I'm thinking about it at this point. The tier is definitely getting to the point where it is just swings at forward.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get some guys who, like, by virtue of their contract, are at least going to get the starts on their teams at the goaltender position. And so this is kind of where that flip is happening for me mentally, where I am really considering it. Renzel is a nice pick here. I can't hate on that, but Duchesne is a brutal pick. How dare you, sir, take Duchesne? I can't believe it. Reese's Pieces, and we will banish you back to tier 2 just for that pick alone.
Was that Duchesne? Was that Duchesne, Reese's Pieces?
That McTavish pick really ripped my soul out. I'm not gonna lie. That was my guy here.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, what am I gonna do? That was truly awful.
Okay, go Granlund.
I don't think I'm gonna do that. It might be the guy. It might be the spot to just get the goalie. I just feel like that was the last guy that I was really somewhat interested in, so I'm just gonna go get Ullmark again. Yeah, I've talked about it before, but Ullmark is the guy that I feel is probably in the best situation this year. I think they're going to play some strong D there in Ottawa again this year, really try to build up the forward around him. They've shored up the defense a little bit more this year, added Jordan Spence, who's a good puck mover on the back end. I just think they should be better than they were a year ago in their own zone. And that should spell some good things for Linus Ullmark. And I think he's probably a pretty talented goaltender from all accounts. What do I know about goaltending? But it seems like people are pretty high on him. So taking a ride.
All right. Well, God, I got to do something now. This is terrible. Josh is just, he's a trigger finger. He's just bang. Right? I can't even.
Well, Ekblad was on power play 1. In this game here tonight. I did see that tweet come out, so that probably feels like a pretty good pick there. I struggled to see how he maintains that role, but I mean, they did do it in the playoffs for Hagee on power play 2, and they've got Ekblad up there. They've got Marchand up there right now. It's wild times there in Florida at the moment with Barkov and Tkachuk out, but stranger things have happened. Ekblad could stay there. I just don't believe that he's going to be efficient. Like, I have him for 14 power play points, which is not nothing, and it still comes out to 41 points in total. It's just like, what do you win if you win with Ekblad? Like, you can get the deployment right. He can be there on the top power play for the whole year, and it could still just not really do anything for your team. I mean, in the 13th round for sure. Like, I really don't mind that. Evander Kane, I was hoping was going to come back to me, so that one really sucked. So thanks for that, Blake.
I'm sorry about that, buddy. Just a little power play 1 for Evander Kane. I'm not sure it sticks, but that's not nothing. And obviously the periffs, where he's getting the biz there, shots and hits. He's an animal.
Right. Talk to me about what else you're seeing in here. We've been too kind, I think, to these drafters in tier 1. We've been saying like how good they are at picking, and they're sniping us all the time. I think we need to get some enmity going in this league, so we should probably try to find some picks that we can throw some shade at here, Blake.
Oh God, you're throwing it to me for that? All right.
Just gonna throw you directly under the bus here.
Everybody's stupid but me. All right. I'm gonna say that right off the bat. No, I don't know. I think I will preface this with, like, you could say this about any player, like, oh, that's a terrible pick, but every player has a chance to do better than what consensus is. Maybe I'm not sure I like the Marco Kasper pick this early. I feel like without power play 1, we're looking at a kind of a kneecapped player there. I will say, however, Darnell Nurse in the 13th round, perfect value. Perfect pick there. I love that. Actually, I was going to pick him myself, so that stinks. Ryan Donato's another pick that, you said you liked it. I actually didn't like it. I'm not convinced that he is power play 1 at this point. So that would sting if he's not power play 1. But I mean, you could argue for both of those and it would make sense, right? Like, it would absolutely make sense. You can make an argument for Kasper. I had him last year. It was awesome. I had him at the end of last year in my Bangers League, and the guy just went off and really helped me out. I won that league. So thank you, Marco Kasper. I just don't see the upside with that player. Actually, Dylan Cousins too. Poppy just picked him. This is an interesting player for me. I think you're a little bit more into him than I am. Can you talk about Dylan Cousins and kind of what you're seeing there? Maybe it's an upside play.
Yeah, I think it's just a power play thing mostly, right? Like, I think he is pretty locked into that power play 1 role. I have him for 22 power play points. That gets him to 56 points overall. We have seen, like, he had a 70-point year.
Yep.
He hits, he shoots decent amount. I'm getting to 56 points on 17 minutes average time on ice. If he gets a bit more run, which I think is possible, I don't think it's necessarily the most likely, or I would have projected it higher, but I think it's possible. I think there is some upside for him to get into the 18-plus minute range and for him to become actually a pretty decent part of that power play. And if that all comes to fruition, then yeah, you could be looking at a guy with good peripherals and 60 to 65 points, and you're pretty happy with drafting that guy in the 14th round.
Oh, Travis Sanheim, we're there already. I took him in the last banger I had. Like, this draft I just did, I faded D to an insane level. Like, I got Jackson Lacombe as my first. And then, I think I got Sanheim, and I'm sure I picked Tony D'Angelo. I got him again. That's the level, right? So Sanheim is interesting. I think that it's going to be Drysdale on power play 1 there in Philly, but I don't think it really matters. I think Sanheim's going to be the guy that has the most value out of all those Philly D. What do you think? I'll let you actually do your pick here. Let's talk about your pick.
Yeah, I think for my pick, I'm probably going to go with the other Vancouver guy there. I think I like him a little bit more than you do. Decent peripherals again. Some scoring volume, left wing, right wing, which is helping me out at this point. I was specifically looking for left wing, right wing down here. There are a couple options. But yeah, that's where I went with that pick. Lafreniere was the other one.
I really like that pick. Yeah. Is it funny? Like, does one tweet just sort of like sway you on a player? Like, someone tweeted that, like, yeah, Mike Sullivan says he's going to put Alexis Lafreniere on the power play. And I was like, what?
Man.
Get him on my team, like, right now. What the hell are we doing? Left wing, right wing? He bangs. Yes. I actually really like that pick, and I love the Zegers pick too, buddy. He's eating my sandwich. Seabass just ate my sandwich. Well, make it 4 Boilermakers right here. You ever see Dumb and Dumber, Nate? Please tell me.
I have seen Dumb and Dumber. Yes.
All right, that's fine.
Classic film.
You're off the hook.
I'm off the hook. Okay, that's great. Well, Ryan wanted us to note that his pick was one that we would hate. That is Frank Vetrano there. And yes, I do hate it. He's on the 3rd line in the 2nd power play, and I think his minutes are going to take a big step backwards. He was a Cronin favorite. I do not think he's going to be a favorite under Joel Quenneville, and I think that's going to significantly hurt him this year. So that's my take. Argue with yourself, Blake.
What are you doing, Ryan? Whatever. Vetrano, he's a shot monster. He's the ultimate chucker. Whatever. He'll give you some peripheral floor there, and maybe I just don't. I don't see him being used in kind of an offensive role there. I see him more like that bottom sixer kind of role player. But I don't know. He's had an amazing season before. Maybe he'll do it again. Ryan, hit us up in the comments. What do you like about Frank the Tank?
This is kind of my problem though. Like, I don't want to be taking like just peripheral dudes with no ceiling at this stage in the draft. Like,
Sure.
that doesn't interest me. Um, DeBrusque has some peripherals, but he also has a ceiling case. Like, we've talked about it before, where it seems like there could be a bit the bones of a player here. He's just been inconsistent.
Yeah.
And yeah, he might just be a guy who can't really be consistent. That is a definite possible outcome. But I really feel like there's like a 5% chance that DeBrusque has a big year this year, and there's a 0% chance that Vetrano has a big year this year. That's just basically how I'm looking at it when we get down this late.
Yeah.
You're just looking for any chance of a guy to actually, you know, be a difference maker on your squad. I just don't really see that for a guy like Vetrano. If he sticks in your lineup all year, then yeah, like, you're getting the benefit of the off nights. But he has to actually stick for that to matter, and I'm not convinced that he does. So that's why I absolutely detest that pick. We get Jimmy Snuggles off the board. Like,
Snuggaroo! I love it. I think, yeah, take the D off. He should just be Snuggaroo. Snuggle up, I guess. Oh,
that's
I'm
Snuffle. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, Nate.
Trying to
It's a
work
play
in
on
that.
words. What are you
Oh,
doing?
okay.
You're supposed to work with me here. You're just tooting right in my face. Oh my god. That's hurtful.
Oh. Well, we are getting down into the range where it is pretty tough to get excited about anything that's going on. Cam Fowler was one that I was thinking about as my fourth D.
Oh yeah.
With that off the board, I think I am going for Arturi Lehkonen here.
Yeah. Big minutes.
He's gonna play minutes. The question is, will he get the minutes at the right times and the right deployments? But he has been on Mac's line, Nate McKinnon's line, for a good chunk of the year so far. Coronado's a great pick here too. Lots of upside there. They did mess up the lines there. I was super excited when it was the Huberto Kadri Coronado top line, and then they messed it all up again. He's with Frost. Less excited about that, but anyway, what do you think? Lehkonen, Coronado, Carlson. Talk to me about those three, Blake. Who's the best?
Three great picks. I think Coronado has the highest upside. That's who I was looking at. I was hoping I would get him here. But I mean, Coronado and Carlson right now, power play 1. Love that, right? And then Lehkonen, like I said, I think that's a guy, he's going to get 20 minutes a night, but he's more of kind of a defensive role. But he's going to get good deployment there in the top 6, good shots and chance at power play 1, right? We don't know. They kind of rotate players in there, but I think it's a really good pick. I would have picked them probably already if I didn't have a bunch of Colorado. Like, I don't want to go nuts there.
That makes some sense. We're getting into it. This is a 20-round draft. They are getting through the 15th here.
Lucky wives we have, Nate.
I mean, damn. So lucky to be attached to
unbelievable.
The greatest fantasy hockey content on the planet.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what they came for, and that's why they stay.
Totally. They're very impressed by this.
Very.
Okay, I'm gonna go here. Boom.
That was immediate.
Yeah.
Talk to us. What's the deal with Protest? What's the deal with Gostisbehere?
I still think, I know Protas is going to regress, and that's the big worry there. But this guy's still a big part of the offense here, I think, even strength at least. And I think he does have some room to even get on power play 2. And that's all just icing on the cake. I like the dual eligibility. I like Washington's schedule. So there's some intangibles there with Protas. Plus, he's a beast. Like, I'm a fan of the way he plays. And I think that his style really fits well with his line. So it's not sexy, but there's just a lot of stuff I like there. And then Gostisbehere, I'm hoping he does lock down power play 1 there, and we're getting some power play 1D in the 16th round. Like, that could be worse, you know. So I feel okay about that.
Yeah, I don't mind that pick there, especially if you need the defenseman at this point in time. St. Perek goes, take that upside swing. And then we get Kopitar, and it's on to me. I don't have a good idea of what I want to do here, which doesn't feel good at this stage in the draft. There are still plenty of names that like are usable,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can say. I just don't feel excited about any of them. I wonder, I don't think I have to do that this early. Maybe I do. I think I'm just going to do the thing. I'm going to take Tony DeAngelo, get my fourth defenseman.
You gotta pop the collar, Nate. Hey, it's Tony. What's going on? Yeah, pop that. All right, sweet.
Sweet.
Yeah, worst head of hair I've ever seen, but amazing, amazing collar. Beautiful jawline. Yeah, let's get to biz with Tony D.
Tremendous. That will probably wrap it up for a D for me in this league. I mean, there might be another guy that I want to take a swing on, but most likely that's it. I think just the 4D, and if I have to go get one again at some point, then I will. But by and large, I think that's probably going to wrap it up for me there. There's still some forwards out here that have some upside. But definitely guys that you're gonna have to create the vision for yourself. I think at this point as to how they are gonna contribute to your lineup week in and week out. And so yeah, there is an element to thinking about what the bottom of your lineup picks should be and what they actually represent for your team and how attached are you to those players in the long term. So Top Cheddar Fantasy. I have a Toronto projected for a whopping 47 points with the Perifs that gets him at rank 106 for me. Give me those off-night points here and there.
Sure.
Yeah, if you got him for 47 points, then yeah, you got to take him there for sure. But that's where we differ for sure. Big Dipper, I can feel the collective eye roll of all of our wives right now. Yeah, this is where they come to roll their eyes at us. That is for sure.
I always remember that show. I don't know if it was, I think it was Knocked Up. Did you ever see Knocked Up, Nate?
Yes, I did.
You remember when the lady, I think her name is Leslie Mann, she thought that Paul Rudd, her husband, was cheating on her. So she like stalked the house and she breaks in the door and he's doing a fantasy baseball draft. And the only thing he says, she's like, "What the hell is this?" And he's like, "We got Matsui." Like, I didn't got Matsui. I haven't related to anything as hard as that in a long time. Like, yeah. Got Matsui.
Oh, that's good. That's good fun.
Good, clean fun. All right.
Josh Nelson, I like Spider-Man.
Okay, he is good. I don't know. Like, does Spider-Man have super strength? Why don't I know this? Like, I know he's obviously agile.
Yeah.
Does he have like super strength as well? Or is it just
I don't know if it's like insanely super strength. It's not like Superman level of super strength, but he's definitely well above average in the strength department.
Okay, he's kind of like me or you, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, probably a little bit more than you, a little bit less than me, but in the range.
That's hurtful. That is very hurtful. Actually, when Nate and I met in person, I gave him a hug. This guy's chiseled, folks. I mean, you can't see it because he's wearing a sweater, but he's got washboard abs. It's unbelievable. His arms, I couldn't put my hands around him. It was crazy. So I don't know. What's your regimen there, Nate? Are you, what are you doing? Like steroids?
Yeah, that's the only way in 2025. Yeah, just
Pilates?
Roids all day.
Yeah.
The odd Pilates class.
I understand.
That's the way to go. Okay. Oh, we can't spread lies like this.
Right.
I have a healthy metabolism, and I've been like 150 pounds for the last 10 years, I think. So I'm not what they would call yoked in any sense of the word. That's for damn sure. Oh man, what am I gonna do here, Blake? We're getting into it.
Yeah.
I was gonna take Laferriere just for the Los Angeles stuff and just get ahead of that. But now that he's gone, like I'm not gonna just go down and get Trevor Moore here just cause. I think there are still some players that have some value.
Yep.
That I could find a way into getting interested in at this point still. I just don't know which of them. Like it really does feel like just taking a swing at this point.
Right.
We have a good idea of what what the situations are for these players, but it still feels like just taking a swing.
That's true.
At this point in time, though, I do think it might behoove me.
I knew you were going to say that.
He did.
What was that besmirch earlier? You have to give me the
Yeah.
definition when you finish your pick.
I think I will just go for the goalie. I think New Jersey's good. I think Markstrom wins some games. Maybe he stays in my team the whole year, but at this stage of the draft, I really don't care. So I'll take him in the 17th round. This is probably the most goalie fade that I've ever seen. Bobrovsky in the 16th. That's pretty extreme. Kemper in the 16th.
Intense.
That's pretty wild. So, yeah, I'm pretty okay with Markstrom at 17. Dostal goes right after that. Logan Stankoven. When Logan Stankoven is going alongside these entrenched starters, that's when you know that's an Apples Ginos draft.
Oh yeah, you put some stank on it. Oh, buddy. Well, imagine growing up with that name, and he's like a shorter guy too. Like that guy's been forged in the fire. Okay, he's gonna bust some people up here this year.
Definitely. When you are that player, like for sure he had a target on his back because he's obviously the best player in every league he played in growing up, but he was so short that some guy was probably like, oh yeah, I can just end this guy's career right here. Everybody was taking runs at him. So you got to have a bit of a chip on your back, I feel like, to make it to the show as a guy of that stature. Oh, that's better than last time. I think we're improving. Over the course of this draft, Blake has gone from abject despair to,
oh, damn. Yeah, you know what? Because I thought a player that I wanted was available and he isn't. Now I'm on tilt. All right?
Okay, now we're back in the dumpster.
Oh,
okay.
God. Yeah, well, I am in the dumpster. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I know what I'm, okay, here we are. This is terrible analysis, folks, but all right, let me get some of this. Okay. I feel fine there.
Okay. Goes with Thatcher Demko, gets the goaltender. I don't mind that. Pairs him with Ilya Sorokin from the 13th earlier.
Y'all.
So nice little goaltender tandem.
I think so.
And adds Patrick Laine. Ugh. Gross.
Oh, I'm
disgusting.
Sorry. I did not. He's gonna score some goals, Nate. Watch, okay.
I mean, yeah, he's gonna score some goals. The question is how many. The question is, can he really get it done from power play 2? Like, do you think he gets on power play 1?
I think at some point he will, but it's we don't know. We can't say we know because we don't. But he is, I mean, pretty damn elite over there. And yeah, it's just, we've talked about this in our projection show. If they're putting Patrick Laine out there, that means Cole Caulfield's role on the power play is different and not as effective, right? He has to do something a little bit different. And I'm not sure they want to do that, right? Caulfield is a staple on this team, and Laine is kind of playing out his insanely expensive contract, right? So, but that said, I think Laine is a better choice there, and they're going to score more goals with Laine there. But will they do it? I kind of find it hard to believe. But that second power play could cook as well.
It could. It definitely could happen. I don't know if I'm going there myself. At this point in time, I'm really just looking for guys in good deployment spots. I think for me, I'm going to take a ride with Dmitry Voronkov. At this point, I think he is most likely going to get that look on the top line there. Once again, with Monahan and Marchenko. That obviously worked pretty well last year. And so it's hard to get too mad about it. I don't know. What do you think of Voronkov? I've been pretty worried about him because it did end pretty poorly last year for him. But I think the fact that they went right back to him this year tells me that at least they're going to let him have a fully honest shot at staying on the top line.
Yep. I mean, he reminds me of Protas, honestly, but he gets more scoring chances. So I like that. And he's on a more efficient line. We know that. So yeah, it's a great swing. And he saw time on the power play where Protas didn't. So I think it's a nice swing here. If we don't know what caused that sort of fall off last year. Maybe he was injured. Maybe he was battling something, right? But yeah, like you said, they're putting him back on top line there. And that line is really good. And they know what they're doing. So I like the player. I think the scoring chances are going to be there at the very least.
I hope so at this point. I've attached myself to the man. I hope that it works out swimmingly for all involved. At this point, like when Malkin is going off, when Tyson Forster, who hasn't even been on the top power play, third line is going off, another pick that, like, honestly, earlier in the year I was pretty into him because he did kind of end last year on power play one. Seemed like the organization was kind of into him, but Taki came in there and has switched things up, which is nice for Zegras. We like that for Zegras, but Forster has been on the outs as a result.
Yep.
So we got to adjust there. And so I'm not drafting Forster. I still think the player has some potential. I just don't. He's got to be on power play one, in my opinion. He is like just that classic setup and one time it kind of dude. So if that's not there for him, I don't think you're really getting much out of him. I don't know what I'm gonna do at this point. Last two rounds, could definitely go a bunch of different ways. Could continue to take some swings. There are still players like, I mean, Jason Zucker's out here. He's still a power play one player. Sean Couturier is a power play one player at this point.
Yeah.
There's definitely some guys still kicking around. Oliver Bjorkstrand's still sitting out here. He's been on that top power play. And
I
yeah,
think we're gonna roll with that. Like,
yeah.
and
The
if
problem,
Hagel is injured, like, yeah, who else is taking those minutes?
right? The problem is that he's been on the third line,
Yep.
which has been the tough part to stomach actually rostering Bjorkstrand. I don't know if that lasts all season long or anything, but you at least have to kind of think about what that might look like. Same goes for Braden Shen. Shen has been on the top power play in place of Dylan Holloway, actually, which was not something that was on my bingo card. But it's been Pia Suter who's been centering Kyrou and Holloway at even strength, and Shen has been down to the third line. And so that obviously kind of takes away his potential a little bit, at least. Whereas you might be pretty excited about him if he was centering those two and on the top power play.
Right.
It's back to me here, and I think this is probably, we saw Warren Fogle go off, and I think this is where, for me, I'm going to go and get Trevor Moore. Picking them up everywhere. Just get those off nights, do the thing, live to fight another day. That's pretty much it. Wrapping it up here, Blake, you got any big plans for your last couple of picks?
Nothing that's super exciting, right? Like I'm looking at schedule stuff now, but I'm not even seeing anything that I love there.
Yep.
So I might just be smart and just take some floor guys. If I have to drop somebody, like, of my last two picks, like, I don't really care if something comes out of the woodwork here, but there's just nothing that I'm seeing that's super awesome, to be honest. So we'll see. I think I'm with you too. I've got 4D, and I'm not really interested in taking more. Maybe. Oh God.
Barbershev's a nice pick. That was one that was still on my radar. It's been on that top line a fair bit. They really seem to like him with Jack Eichel up there.
Yep.
And if it's him with Eichel and Marner, like that's like akin to the Nye spot from last year, right? And the guy who does hit as well. So you could see some sort of similar fantasy outcome, I could imagine.
Well, and we've seen it before too with Barbashev. Like, he's not a muffin out there. He's driving play as well. He's carrying the puck in. He's setting chances up. So he's a good part of that line. It's a great pick. I'm so focused on power play one in these drafts. Like, I tend to look past players. Like, I did pick Protas here, but that's kind of against what my normal strategy is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like that. I like that pick. Let's see. What are we doing here? Oh, there's the jerk store.
What are you doing here?
What would you say you do here?
Very nice. I was thinking that this would be a spot for a guy like Philip Hedl, but he has not been on the top power play. It's been Evander Kane up there. Oh, wow.
There you go. Look at you, buddy. You know what? Let's have some fun. Let's have a good time. Bang. We're getting beef for Sherwood in here. Get him in your life. I'm fine with that. Oh, God. I don't even know, man. This is painful. This does not look good. What can I do?
Just making one for the memes and then has no backup plan. I love it.
Okay, I got a plan. I got a little bit of a plan here.
Okay.
I got something. All right.
Got a little something.
Mackie Samaskevich. I don't know. I feel fine about that, I guess. I mean, whatever.
That's a ringing endorsement of your own pick there.
Cool name.
We've
One of
reached
the best names.
we've reached the point in the draft where we're now roasting our own picks instead
like,
of
what am I doing?
the other people. All right. Jason Zucker. It's a good pick at this stage. I don't really like anything that's out there at all. Oh, I know what I'm going to do.
Oh, here we go. Oh,
I've got a
Snipe Show
fun
coming
one.
at you.
A little fun one for you to close it out.
A Funyun.
A Funyun. A Funyun one.
Fun onion. I don't know.
It's getting bad. An
We
hour
lost.
40
Yeah,
into the
fine.
stream, and we are getting to the end of the rope here. That's for sure. I'm just going through like the bottom of my my projections here, trying to figure out if there's anybody that I've just completely overlooked to this point. I don't really think there is. I think that my pick is going to be fun, and Anton Forsberg for the early
I like that.
back-to-back start.
I grabbed him in my last draft and my last
Yep.
pick just to get that start.
I don't hate it. For myself, I'm going to get the one game out of one Mr. Really Koivunen playing on the top line in Russ' absence alongside Crosby and Raquel. Probably on the top power play. I don't think we got power play lines yet, but yeah, I'll take Koivunen for one game and see how it goes.
Beefy projection for him. I feel kind of bad about it. I should go back in and take a look at this. Like, I kind of projected for 48 points. Huh? I might have to adjust that before we get into our projections episodes. All right, I need to kind of grease the wheels here a little bit, make myself.
Babsy wants to know what's an Ullmark draft. So all of the tiers for the APL were named after tremendous 0G goalie seasons. So tier 1 was when Linus Ullmark came out of the woodwork to deliver fantasy championships to a whole bunch of managers. And yeah, if you go through all of the tiers, we've got just a bunch of different, like we have in tier 2, it's Blackwood from last year. In tier 4, we have guys like Georgiev when he came out of nowhere that year in Colorado. People were like, I don't think I can trust this guy. And then he just got insane volume on a great team, and he was pretty good that first year and then fell to pieces the second year. We've got Stuart Skinner from that year when he was good. We've got the Joey Decord when he came out of the woodwork. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen won some championships that one year. Jack Campbell, anybody remember that back in 2021?
I love it.
That was a great one. Definitely lots of goaltenders that I have some fond associations with just for their ability to be a literal no one in September and be the guy you had to have to win your league. So that is how we came up with all the names. Well, Blake, we have reached the end of our drafts here. We have 2 more picks. Sideshow really agonizing over the last pick. There goes Bobby McMahon,
Made the right
Chris
decision.
Letang.
There we go.
And the thing is done. So I think we can take a second and we can look at the teams here. Would you like to go first or second, Blake?
Just in talking about my own team.
Yeah,
I can go first.
all right.
I like it. I don't know. This is better than I thought I was going to get out of here because I really don't like the one spot, and I've been getting it so much this season here. So I'm surprised at some of the first off, I feel like I have a lot of flexibility. I have a ton of dual eligible, triple eligible players. So I'm really happy about that. The defense, I was expecting to totally fade defense, and I'm kind of happy with who I got. I got Fox, Hughes, Heiskanen, and Gostisbehere. All power play one, or potential power play one forwards, defense, with decent floors. And I got a couple of my favorites, like Josh Norris. I love that. Kent Johnson's another player. I got Marty Necas, I think at pretty reasonable value. It's just, I think if I'm looking at my picks, Sam Reinhart is one where, maybe that's going to bite me a little bit, or maybe not going a little thinking a little bit bigger, thinking a little higher with some of the picks, like, even Boldy or Miller would have been kind of a nice pick there. I was looking at JT Miller. Full disclosure, I forgot about the third round reversal. And so I was going to do, like you even mentioned, you're like, oh, you got a couple picks coming up. I was like, yeah, I do. I'm like, I'll get Sam Reinhart and JT Miller. And then I was like, oh, great. Okay. Yep. Don't have that anymore. So that's fine. But yeah, I feel like, similar to yourself, the floor is strong. And I like my goaltending as well. Like Sorokin and Demko, I got two, like, I don't care about a 50-50 split, honestly. Like I got Sorokin as my main guy. And if Demko splits with Lankinen, like that's fine. I don't care, right? Like we don't have a goalie minimum here. So I feel like when he's in the net, he's going to give me good starts. I don't know. What do you think about my team?
I like the team. I like these first 4 rounds feel pretty good to me. Nature's at 312 feels pretty strong. Fox, I think you had to take because this is where all those defensemen were going to go off regardless. So if you wanted a defenseman there, you had to take him there. Suzuki is a little high for me. There's still some other guys I like a little bit better in this range. But Fiala, I like that pick there. Tom Wilson was at the top of my board at this point. Luke Hughes, the upside pick. I'm never going to be mad at taking that big swing. Heiskanen, I think, was really good value. I was into Stamkos at that spot. You get your guys here, so planting your flag on those two, and I like to see that. Vander Kane was the guy I was looking at. I'm not huge on the Protos or Gostisbehere, but I see the vision. Yeah, overall, I think it's a strong team. It won't make the playoffs, but you'll be around it.
Yeah, I'm just happy to be here. You know what I mean? That feels good. I just want to be in the presence of fantasy greatness of this league right here. And so that's all I want to do. I'm just here for a good time, folks.
Okay. All right. So yeah, for myself, I go Matthews, Robertson, Gensel, Morrissey, Heishir, Tuck, Kyrou, Matthew Tkachuk in the 8th, Thomas Hertl, Morgan Riley, Vince Dunn, Will Smith, Ullmark, DeBrusk, Lehkonen, D'Angelo, Markstrom, Voronkov, Moore, and Koivunen as the first week streamers at the end. I feel pretty good about this. I think, yeah, a lot of it definitely hinges on my ability to manage my way out of not having an 8th round pick for the majority of the season.
Yep.
I'm have too much belief in myself, but I think I can do it. I think I can put myself in a spot to be in the playoff hunt at the very least by the time that Tkachuk comes back, and then I think he can be a difference maker for me going into the playoffs and through the playoffs and kind of elevate this team to where it might need to be to actually win the thing. So I thought that, in a draft where I'm not going to get the values falling to me that I might get in a lot of other drafts that I'm in, I thought this was a draft where I needed to find, that kind of thing to differentiate myself. And I felt like I was kind of able to execute that with the pick there. I really like the floor that I built for myself through the first 6 picks here. I think Matthews, Robertson, Gensel might be one of my favorite starts that I've ever had in recent memory. Yeah, that just feels phenomenal to start off my first 3 picks. I don't see a way in which that loses me, my shot at the playoffs at the very least. Morrissey, floor pick. Heishir, floor pick. Tuck, floor pick. Kyrou, like, if he gets better deployment at any point, I think he should smash this spot where I got him, and if he doesn't, then he should be right around here. So feels like a decent spot to just bet on a player with talent. Talk about that a lot. Talk about that, like Michkov going at the 6. I was talking about potentially taking him in the 6th round. Michkov, like, his projection is worse than Kyrou, but there is like a pretty obvious ceiling case. So you are kind of building that into where you're taking these players. Tomas Hertl, Riley, Dunn, getting my hype pick with Will Smith there in the 12th, get the Ullmark in the 13th, get some dual eligibility with line 1 guys with Jake DeBrusk and Arturi Lehkonen that I feel pretty good about. D'Angelo rounds out the decor. And then, yeah, the streamers at the end. Voronkov on line 1 as of now. I feel pretty good about this. I knew that I wasn't going to have, like, just a ridiculous team, but I think this is a pretty solid team and a team that should hang around it at the very least. Have to put in the work to get it there, but I think I can do that. And then if Tkachuk really comes online and is anything close to the Matt Tkachuk of old, then I think it could be a smash. What do you think about my team, Blake?
Yeah, I don't have too much to add there. I like, I like those picks. I can't even. Yeah, it's such a great start. Like I'm trying to look at some of your picks here, and I mean, Jake DeBrusk, I know him, and like I've watched him a lot. Like it's not, there's not a lot of upside there, I don't think. But you're going to get 25 goals minimum, right? And power play. So like if he really does pop off, like last year I was more excited about him, and then I kind of watched him a little bit, and I was like, okay, I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit, but. I can't fault you there. I like the goaltending too, like Linus Ullmark and Markstrom. That's really nice. And then you got your streamers at the end. Like it's just like you said, that start is just so solid. And I'm trying to look at all these other teams too, and everybody's start was pretty damn solid. If you look at the first 5-6 picks that everyone made, it's like, yeah, this kind of makes some sense. Like
Yeah.
we had our first goalie off the board in the 7th round, but top 6 rounds throughout. Like it's pretty clean, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't see a lot of big reaches or anything. There's definitely some, upside-ish picks versus some others that may or may not pay off, but that is the risk that we're all taking every single time we draft. So can't really hate on anything that I see too much. I think we can call it there, Blake. Do you got any closing words for the people, or should we try to do one more hype outro for the APL? This is the last draft of the APL. All leagues have drafted, and we'll be getting to biz in just a few short days.
Folks, we appreciate you. We see you out here in these fantasy hockey streets. Stick with us this year. We're doing our regularly scheduled content starting next week when the season starts. Oh my God. You like winning, don't you? Well, you better listen to the Apples Ginos Fantasy Hockey Podcast, because that's what we're going to help you do. All right. We're here to get the biz, and we're happy to do it. Nate and I were just big fans of fantasy hockey. And I'm rambling now, but we really appreciate you. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for all your interest in the APL. This is going to be an awesome year. I'm so excited.
Stay tuned for Crossing the Streams Redux coming to airwaves near you, courtesy of one Mr. Blake Creamer.
Nate and I have had a whole summer to just experiment, right? And just kind of, try different things. So I'm excited to let you all know about the results of our stream crossing, right? We've taken it to another level, right? We're taking it to the limit, aren't we, Nate?
We're definitely taking it to the limit with that one, but I think that is going to be all that we've got for this episode. So hopefully it brought you some value, helped you get a little bit better at fantasy hockey today. Many thanks to Blake's brother Matt for supplying the electric music for this podcast. That's it, folks. Much love.